So I'm recording now, and yeah. So in pseudocode, there is a compiler. Did you try any compiler of pseudocode before? So this means that there is online compiler.
No.
Okay. So previously, maybe you have wrote pseudocode, but you are not sure it works or not. Okay. So having a compiler, although it is not a comprehensive and a fully working compiler, but it is better than nothing. So it means that simple things, you can still try it on the compiler online and see if things work as you expect. Okay. So again, so the same we have in the pseudocode, we have also in Python, we have procedures and we have functions. Okay. So in procedures, if you can look here, so there is a procedure also in pseudocode, and there is something called, so yeah, let's explain the procedure first. So can we remember together what is the difference between a procedure and a function?
A procedure and the function is the same, but procedure is for pseudocode, and no, function is also for pseudocode. Not very sure, sir.
Okay, so okay, in Python and pseudocode, it is the same. We have procedures and functions. The difference between procedure and function return a value, procedure does not return a value. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so please notice with me, there is something called copy by reference, or passing variables by reference, and or passing them just by copy, by normal copy. Okay, so this is a little bit advanced topic. I will discuss it with you later. Okay, but just to know that sometimes we pass. So as you see here, the swap have two parameters, x and y. Both of them are integers. But what we are doing here, that he specifies something called by reference. Okay, so passing a variable by reference means that the original variable is actually, if you change its value inside the function or the procedure, it will actually change its original value. So if we pass an array, or let's say before I pass the variable x to the procedure, its value was 10. Then I do operations on the variable x inside the procedure, and then I change the value from x equal 10, it become x equal 20. After the procedure finish, x will remain 20. Why? Because I pass it by reference. By reference means I pass the original address of the memory where x is stored. X is a variable that is stored in a memory of the computer. Okay? If I pass it without specifying by reference, it means that I am only taking a copy from x, and whatever changes I do inside the procedure on the variable x is actually not affecting the original value of x, or the original location where x is stored in the memory. So after the procedure is finished, all the changes is gone. Does this make any sense to you?
Yes, sir.
I know you need to see that with your eyes. I can understand that, but take it, as I told you, I will explain this in detail on a later, but just to not to forget what we are seeing it here. So I'm just giving a brief explanation. So can you look at it with me here? Do you understand what this function is doing? This swap function, or swap procedure, sorry.
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. So do you know what is it doing?
It's swapping the values of the integers
Okay, so okay, it means that whatever in X we change it, we put it in Y, and whatever in Y we put it in X, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so to do that we need a temporary variable. So we created a temporary variable that is called temp, and we use it to store whatever in X first. And on the next step, so we put whatever in Y in X. So now X have the value that was stored in Y, and Y we put inside it, or we assign it the value in temp variable. So that's clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that previously we used the hash to be able to do comments in the Python code, but here we have double lines, double slashes, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, we have data types. Now we have integer for a normal number, a whole number, a real, which correspond to float in Python, and a character. Also, we have the same in Python, character. Just carry a single character with a single quotation. We have a string. Okay, we know that a string is anything between double quotation in Python, if you can remember. We have Boolean that carry true and false values. And in Python, it's called pool, P-O-O-L. Okay, and we have date, just carry a normal date. Okay, a calendar date. Okay, so as we said, an integer can be a value like 5 or -3. And a real can be a value with a decimal, 4.7, 0.3, -4.0. A character is something that is between single quotations, like this, like we see here in the X and we have in the C. So a string, as we said, is always between double quotation, like that. As we said, Boolean is true and false. And then the date, we have days, months, and a year. Okay, identifiers. Okay, yeah. Let us see. So normally we have identifiers, which is the variable names. So okay, yeah, it's slightly different from what we have seen in Python. Normally in Python we start the variables with lowercase, but here we are able to so we are here able to we are able to use capital letters also in the variable names. Okay, let me see. So here, this is an example of variable names, how he declare a variable. Please remember that in Python we don't have any declaration for variables, but in pseudocode we have declaration. So it means that when we use a variable in Python, we don't say that, oh, this variable is integer, this variable is a float, or this variable is Boolean. No, we just create a variable and we assign a value to it. And automatically the Python understand based on the values that we assign to it, how what type of a variable, or what type, yeah, he will give it an integer, or he will give it what type. Okay, just based on the assignment. So see here, if you can remember with me, please. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you see this variable?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how we define variables in Python. Okay, we don't have in Python something called a new name is a string. We don't have. Okay, We don't have like that. So we create a variable directly and we assign a value to it. And based on the value here, we know that it's between double quotation, so it's a string. Okay, so like here, names, we put values inside it, and automatically a Python know that this is an array based on how we put the values inside it. This array of strings. But this is not the case in pseudocode. Pseudocode, you have to declare, you have to tell the pseudocode, I want to create a variable of type integer, or I want to create a variable of type string. This is the difference. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, here is how we declare variables in pseudocode. And okay, so this is how. Do you know what is the difference between a variable and a constant?
A constant doesn't change value.
Yes, you are correct. So we have to use the word and the identifier constant before we define a constant. So it's always like that. Constant hourly rate equals 6.50. Okay, so that's how we declare it and how we define it. Okay, so can you see that this assignment? So he put 0 in a counter, and then he increments the counter, and then he multiplies something. He multiply two variables together, hourly rate and number of hours, and he assigns the result to total pay. I think this is clear to you, right? So should we move slightly faster?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you know how arrays is declared in pseudocode? Can you still remember that? So that's how he defined how he declared array of strings from 1 to 30.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to put okay, let me copy this for you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you see we have so this is a compiler. This is a compiler of the pseudocode, and I want to know from you. So that's an array name that we have is called student names, and we want to let's try to assign some value inside this. So if we want to put like that, what do you think should we put inside the square brackets?
Names of students.
Okay, but so what should I put here? Here, what should I put?
Oh, the number.
Okay, perfect. So the numbers start from what number to what number?
From 1 to
So
30.
okay, that's perfect. So if I put like that is correct, right? So
Yeah.
I put a name here, Joy. Does it work? Okay. So do you know how to output that variable? So we want to know that if we really assigned it correctly or not. So how to do that?
Print student name 1.
Okay. Print student name 1. Okay. he doesn't accept it. That's interesting. Student names. I think something wrong. Maybe he doesn't accept even the. It's not defined. He doesn't consider it defined. Yeah, maybe he doesn't accept. He doesn't accept arrays. To be frank, I didn't test it with arrays before. Let me check, please. Let me check here. Save arrays. If I test it with arrays. No, I didn't test it before with arrays. Maybe something wrong. So that's not a complete pseudocode compiler. So certain things will work with it, certain things will not work. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, it will not show us how it works. But never mind. At least we know. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Let me check that later. See if there is, yeah, there is other way to do that. So okay. But anyhow, so we already know that we already defined an array, and you already know how you can assign any single element inside the array and put a string inside it. Okay. So again, do you still remember 2D arrays?
2D arrays?
Or no?
No.
Okay. So let us put that later once we take 2D arrays. 2D arrays. Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you here, do you know how this line of code works?
You change the variable of student name n plus 1 to student name n.
Okay, so if n equal 1, then n plus 1 equal?
N equals 1, n plus 1 is 2.
Okay, so what do you think he's trying to do here? So we know that so he defined the array here from 1 to 30, right? The student names is from 1 to 30, right?
Yeah.
So the first element in the array is with it start with 1, right? So student names between the square brackets we put 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it simply means that if we get this, can you see my screen?
Yeah. Not now. Yeah.
So if I put here, so can you notice what he's trying to do here? So if we say n, we give value to it 1. So can you tell me now what will happen here, on this line number 5? If I say output, and then I try to print whatever inside this n plus 1, what can be the output?
Semi.
Explain to me why.
Because n, you have given a value of n is 1, so 1 plus 1 equals to 2, and
Okay.
the student value of 2 is semi.
It's true, but this means that if you ignore this line, what you are saying is 100% correct. But but what you are saying is actually you didn't counter or look into details how this line number 5 works. So it is true that student names with at the position 2 is actually Sami. It's true. Okay, but after this operation, what is inside the position 2 is actually different. It's not Sami anymore. Huh. So now, okay, now I make it easy for you. So since n equal 1, right? And so this will evaluate to what? N plus 1 equals 1.
2.
Okay, so it's become. So now can you understand it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, now, so tell me now, n plus 1 will have what?
You are putting in the value of n, which is the first one, joy, into n plus 1, which is semi.
Okay.
So yeah. Now it should be, so when you output, it should be joy or semi and joy.
No, it will replace the old one. So when we do this kind of assignment, it will replace the old value. It will not be adding it.
Okay, so it will be joy.
So if you want to add that, actually, yes, it's true, it's possible, but then you have to put something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but actually inside pseudocode we don't use plus. In Python we use plus. Here we use the and sign for adding strings. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So okay, one thing I want to also share with you. So can we agree always that when we talk about arrays, what is the value inside here? We call it element. Okay, but the position is I will confuse you if I do like that. Wait, give me a second, please. If I do like that, I will confuse you. So I would say no, wait. Um, 5. Okay, so again, please don't forget, this is very important. Yeah, let me not confuse you, because here is slightly different from Python. Python, we said, so in this array, when we define it from 1 to 30. Okay, and we can say here. So let's consider that this is from 1 to 30. Okay, so it starts from 1, and the last position here is 30. So what is this one? Do you remember what we called it last time? We call it index.
Yeah.
So please try to remember that.
Okay.
Okay. Python slightly different from pseudocode. Here we can start from 1 to whatever, but in Python we cannot control that. We always start from 0. So in Python the index will always start from 0. But in pseudocode it's not the case. Okay. So I will start putting assigning values from 1, as you see here. In pseudocode I will do it from 0. Okay. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So here one thing. So if we defined, let me see. So not and crosses here is actually, if you can see here, he defined a 2D array. I know we didn't take 2D arrays, but I want to share with you that in pseudocode we are able to assign arrays to an arrays. So it means that if we have a 2D array that is called note and crosses, we are able to assign it to another array saved games. So we have to close now and we have to enter using the same link again. Okay.
Okay.